Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm gonna be trying out Doughp, which is a brand of edible cookie dough. I first heard about this brand on Shark Tank and I was really curious about it, so I reached out to the brand and asked them if they could send me a few samples, and they did. So thank you to them for that. If you do want to order from them, they also gave me an affiliate discount code, which will save you some money, but I have some mixed feelings on this brand, so let's get into the taste test. So now we're gonna do a taste test. I'm going to rate these in order from best to worst, and I'm gonna tell you my honest thoughts. And I have to admit, I have done a little bit of sampling before this. It's just, it's so, like, they're so hard to resist, okay? There's some that I've just tried like a tiny little smidge of, so now we're gonna try them out in a little bit more of a critical eye. So let's start with the chocolate chip. So the chocolate chip, I've almost eaten this whole thing. It's kind of bad, but the weird thing about the chocolate chip is it did come with a hole in it, and I don't know what's going on with that. I decided to just hope for the best and pray that this was not tampered with and it's just some sort of weird manufacturing problem or something. I tried the chocolate chip and it tastes very good. I mean, let's be real. This is cookie dough. Like, what do you expect? Okay, like it definitely tastes good. My only problem with the cookie dough, with the chocolate chip, is I feel like the texture, I think it could be more moist and a little bit more of like a smoother texture. Like, it's kind of a dry texture. And I think that's probably because there is no eggs. But it's very good. It tastes like chocolate chip cookie dough, but it's not quite as moist as like the Toll House cookie dough that comes in those tubes. Also, I just feel like because this comes in like this container, I keep expecting it in my head to be like ice cream, and it's not. Like, it's basically room temperature. Like, you put it in the refrigerator, but it doesn't get super cold. This one, I think it's really solid. I think the texture is the only thing that's like not quite amazing about this one. So I would give it an 8 out of 10. We'll put it here. It's the best one so far. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so the next one, this one I think is probably my favorite. This one is the Cookie Monster, or Cookie Monster, which is like cookies and cream. I don't really know why it's blue, but it's blue. And let's try another sample of it. This one, the texture is better than the chocolate chip cookie dough, and I don't exactly know why, but the texture, just like scooping it up with a spoon, you can tell that the Cookie Monster is just a little bit more of a smoother texture, so I feel like it doesn't have that dry texture that the cookie dough one has. And maybe this one just has this texture because it had a hole in it, I don't know. This one is so good. It tastes exactly like cookies and cream. The texture is better than the chocolate chip cookie dough. I would say the Cookie Monster is better because I feel like the flavor is just slightly better, and I also think that the texture is better. So this one is better. Next, we have the Brownie Beast. And I'm gonna be honest, I did do a little sample of this one and I didn't like it. I thought it tasted like, you know when like people try to make brownies out of different things like black beans or chickpeas, like stuff that shouldn't be made into brownies, and they turn it into brownies. That's what this reminds me of, and I didn't really like it. But let's give the brownie one another shot. I don't know, like, it's fine. I feel like it tastes a little bit more like a dark chocolate, and then it also is just like, I don't know, has something weird going on where it just reminds me of like fake brownies made out of black beans. That's the vibe I get from this. And so this is definitely the worst of these three. Now, that being said, I do pretty much always prefer cookies over brownies, so maybe that's just more of like a personal thing. But this one I just don't like, and I also feel like the texture is kind of more similar to the chocolate chip cookie dough, where it's like not quite as like moist and creamy. This one is definitely the least favorite. And then this one, I really have not tried this one much at all. I tried like one tiny little sample, but this one is Dunk on 'em, which is sprinkles, frosting, and cookie grams. So it seems to be more of like a play on like a confetti cupcake or like a sugar cookie. This one, the calories are literally insane on this one. It's 460 calories for 3 tablespoons. Whew. I hope I don't like this just for my own sake because this is dangerous, but let's give it a little try. So you can see there's definitely some of those sprinkles in there. This one is really good. I think it tastes like a sugar cookie. I would say my only criticism of this one is like so much better than all the other ones that I would justify like basically double the calories on this one. I don't know, I think maybe here. Like this one's almost too sweet. I kind of like that the chocolate chip cookie dough is a little bit more of a classic chocolate chip cookie dough and it's not quite as sweet. And I do like the Cookie Monster. I really like that this one has like chunks of cookies in there. So I feel like the texture is good. It also has that extra little variety with the crunch from the cookies and the extra flavor from the Oreos in there. So Cookie Monster is definitely my favorite. Second favorite is chocolate chip cookie dough. Then there's this sugar cookie Dunk on 'em with all the sprinkles. This one I think is really good, but it's just, it doesn't really stand out to me like these other ones do. And then my least favorite is definitely the brownie one. So I think my ratings for these, I would give this one a 10 out of 10. It is just like, it's so good. Ugh, it's so good. This one I would give like an 8 out of 10. This I think a 7. And this one I would give like a 5. I don't think this one's that good, but I think if you really like brownies, then you may like this one a little bit more. Now, we are not just going to eat this raw because you can actually cook this cookie dough in the oven. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to cook each of these all the way from 3 minutes down to 14 minutes. Basically, the less you cook it, the more kind of ooey and gooey it's going to be. And then if you cook it 11 to 14 minutes, it's going to be a little bit more of like a crunchy cookie and have a little bit more bite to it. So I think for this exercise, I'm gonna cook them all just kind of like in the middle, maybe about 6 minutes for each of them. And so we can give a fair comparison. And then I'm gonna try with one of these to cook it for like all the different temperature, all the different time options to see kind of what that does. But now let's try them cookie form. And so while we wait for those cookies to be ready, I also got some little dough balls ready from the Dunk on 'em. And with these, I'm gonna try these out like one for each of the time recommendations so I can show you what they look like at each time level so you can kind of get a sense of that. So once these come out, I'm gonna start the next ones while they cool a little bit. Okay, so here's what they look like directly out of the oven. They definitely are more like flat than normal cookies, but this is for 8 minutes. And I am kind of surprised at how differently they each kind of flattened. So the brownie one definitely held its shape the most. Like, I don't know if you can see that. It's definitely the most like round still. And then the sugar cookie, like the Dunk on 'em with the sprinkles, this one definitely flattened out the most. And then the monster cookie one and then the chocolate chip cookie dough, these ones are like a little bit in the middle. But I'm gonna let these cool off for just a minute. And then while we wait, I'm gonna try the different times for the other cookies. So I was initially gonna do this and remove the cookies every 3 minutes, but then I realized cookies are just like way too soft. I just can't physically get them off without completely ruining them. So I'm just gonna show you. This is what it looks like at 9 minutes. See, they're pretty flat, but I'm gonna put them in for 3 more minutes and we can see what 12 minutes. I have all of the 4 cookie flavors out of the oven, and I have to say, they are very flat. Like this is 8 minutes. These are flatter than a pancake. Okay, let me show you. This is how, it's like a cracker, basically. It's like they basically turn into a cracker. I mean, they definitely taste good. Like it's a cookie, okay? I think this is really better if you want to mainly just eat it like plain, and then maybe sometimes you're like, oh, like let's have some fun and bake them. But I think this is better suited as just the dough. Now let's try the chocolate chip. I don't know, I feel like they just get very, very flat, and it depends if you like that, but personally, I don't think that these, like, the way that these are shining is through baking them. Now let's try my favorite one, which was the Cookie Monster. This one is so good. I feel like it just doesn't taste as good as it did when it was just the raw cookie dough. I feel like the special flavor of like the cookies and cream is just not really coming through when it's baked like this. Finally, let's taste the brownie one. And this one is the most like shapely of all of them. Like this one has some actual puff still left on there. It's the least flattened out. I feel like if you like chocolate lava cake, you'll probably like this one. I probably would not recommend these if you're just planning on cooking with them, because I feel like the ingredients are just mainly meant more for the taste of the raw dough rather than the properties that you'll need to cook them. But I did also experiment with the cooking times. So let's see what the cookie dough looks like with some of the different times. So I tried first with a little dough ball like this. This is what it looks like after 3 minutes. And this I could like barely get off of there. It definitely gets nice and soft. Yeah, this is really good. A really good way to eat this is just cook it for like 3 minutes and put some like ice cream with it or something. Like that would be really, really good. Now this one doesn't look that appetizing. This was 6 minutes and it looked way better before. It kind of got disfigured. It still has a little bit of like life to it. Like it's not quite flattened out, but let's try it. Once they're cooked, they have this like caramelized flavor. I think there's like brown sugar or something in this that's getting like caramelized when it cooks. And I feel like it really changes the flavor of the cookies. And I feel like at 6 minutes, that's really when that starts to come through. Like at 3 minutes, it basically tastes just like a cookie dough, but just like warm and gooey. This is that same like sugar cookie, funfetti cookie. After 12 minutes, it is like crispy, okay? And it's very oily. Like it is extremely oily. It's like, let's try it. The flavor profile changes so dramatically when you cook this. Like this does not taste like what I was eating before. Like this tastes like something completely different. All in all, you guys, I would say if you want to eat cookie dough, buy this for the cookie dough flavor. But the flavors I liked, I thought were really, really good and just taste like cookie dough, and they taste really tasty. Like, delicious. So to wrap things up, would I recommend Doughp? Well, I would if you're looking for edible cookie dough. It is really, really delicious, especially the blue flavor. That was definitely my favorite. That being said, it is like extremely high in calories and it doesn't really work for actually baking the cookies. But if you just want to indulge in some cookie dough eating and you don't want to have to worry about it being raw, then I think this is a really tasty treat to try out. And hope you found this helpful. Till next time, bye.